Right, we're into something, folks. I pulled it right out the water actually, so it can't be that big, but it's giving me a bit of a go. And that was on sweetcorn. More powerful rod, sort of giving me upper hand here. I don't know what it is, folks. It could be a small carp. Certainly having a go. Can't see. Oh no, I think it's my target species, folks. Oh, it doesn't look like that. I can't see a bloody thing for this sun. I can't see what I'm doing. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I think it's a tench. It's our target species. There it is, Tinker Tinker. Beautiful fish, aren't they? Absolutely beautiful. Good morning all. Well, after 3 trips to the river, all of which were quite challenging, I've decided today to have a little trip to a lake in Earith that I like fishing. It's a pretty little lake, and although one could say it's a commercial because it's on a campsite, so it's obviously a commercial venue, but it's quite a natural looking little lake. It's you fish from the bank, you don't fish from platforms, and the guy there is very sort of laid back. There's not lots of rules and regulations. It's got quite a good head of tench, although recently I'm not doing very well catching them. It's got a lot of bream, but it's also got some very big carp, as well as some silvers. I've been broken up by carp a few times there. Anyway, that's where I'm heading. Not far away now. It's another bright morning, but the rain is forecast for later. And the bigger problem today might be the wind. It's very gusty. Fishing on open water is always a bit of a problem in the wind. Yeah, we're nearly there. Going quite slow at the moment. This road's been resurfaced. Lots of loose grit. So, yeah, tight bend. Hey, all the way around. Anyway, we're just going down this little road here. It's called Meadow Lane, I think. Interesting. Road will be closed, not today. That's good. Yeah, the lake's just down the end here. Right, here we are, folks. It's not normally very busy. Now we're past the summer peak, it's probably going to be less busy. It obviously gets quite busy in summer because, as I say, it's a camp caravan site, so it gets quite busy. But in the spring, when I usually fish here, and hopefully this time of year, I haven't fished here at this time of year before, but hopefully it's not going to be too busy. Having said that, there's a few cars here. Yeah. Actually, quite a few people here. Oh well. I'm sure we'll find somewhere to fish. Right, let's get going. As I say, it's a pretty little lake. Where that guy's fishing there was one spot I was thinking of fishing, so that's not going to happen. I usually walk round the back. I wasn't going to do that today, but given the near spots are being fished, I'm probably going to have to. A few people commented on my last video that I seem to walk a long way, and I often do. Anyway, the guys with the barrows and things don't usually go around here because the path's quite narrow, water level's down. In the spring, early spring, it was over this path, you couldn't even walk along it, so it shows you how much the level's dropped. The only awkward thing about this bit is it gets quite narrow here, and when you're carrying a lot of gear, and negotiating this damn tree is always a problem. So the bag often gets caught on the fence. That's right, we've made it. Yeah. It's usually very quiet around this side. As I say, people just don't walk this far. All the reeds have been cut down, all the sort of bankside vegetation's been cut down. All looks a bit bare at the moment. Right, this is the spot I'm going to fish. As I say, I've never seen it this low. But we'll see what happens. I'm after tench, but there's always a risk or a chance, shall I say, of carp turning up. So anyway, I'll get set up and then I'll be back. Well, I'm all set up. I've put a bit of ground bait out, a mixture of a little bit of proprietary stuff I had left over, which had a hole in the bag, which would tend to indicate I've got a mouse in my garage, and some breadcrumb. And there's been a few bubbles coming up, which is encouraging. I'm hoping for some tench today, some optimist. A tench would be nice today, but anything really. And I've brought a ledger rod. I thought it would be far too windy for a float, but it's actually quite sheltered here, so that might have been a mistake. But anyway, we'll put the ledger out and we'll see what happens. Yeah, it's going to be a nice peaceful day. As I say, there's only two guys over there. The owner's clearing some, he's doing some raking and clearing some reeds. He's having a sort of tidy up at the end of the sort of summer season, I suppose. He'll be round to get my money in a minute. Anyway, enough speaking. Then let's get going and see what happens, shall we? Right. Okay, now there might be a slight problem here with filming because the sun is reflecting straight in my eyes off the water. So I'm not quite sure how the camera's going to deal with that. Probably not well, but we'll carry on and see what happens. Now, today I've brought my barbel rod. Not that I do a lot of barbel fishing these days, but it's a 1 3/4 pound test, and I've got 8 pound line on, which is fairly heavy because I've been broken by carp in here 2 or 3 times. It's a tight swim as well. If I get a carp of any size, even with this tackle, I don't think it's going to be able to deal with it, but it gives me a better chance. I've just got a single shot on here. It's equivalent of 2 SSGs and a little stop. I think that may be an 8 hook. I've, as I said, put out a mixture of breadcrumb and proprietary ground bait, and I've sort of done a spread of it a couple of feet in front of that lily bed out there, So that's where I'm going to cast, and we'll see what happens. As it's a bread based ground bait, I'll start off with a piece of bread, and I've got sweetcorn, I've got luncheon meat. Luncheon meat's the stuff that tends to attract the carp here, but I'm not going to target the carp. If they come along all well and good, and maybe I may even get one in, but I'm certainly not going to target them. I very rarely target carp. I haven't actually got any what you call true carp gear anyway, so we'll see what happens, shall we? Just start my remote camera just in case something happens immediately, which it probably won't, but it'd be nice to capture it, wouldn't it? Bleep bleep bleep, it's just switched on. Great thing, I can do all this on my phone. It's absolutely amazing, really. And it's now recording, so I'll leave the phone in there so it's easy to get to. Right, so it's just 9:30. I got here a bit before 9, but it takes a while to set up all the cameras and what have you. So, yeah, that's exactly where I put the ground bait. I really want to get the rod a bit lower, but I haven't got a shorter rod rest, unfortunately. Just got a bob in here. Yeah, and that wind's going to catch it, isn't it? I'm going to have to improvise and get this rod a bit lower. Oh, I think something had taken that. Well, I just had my first bite, folks. I missed it. Bobbin went right up. Anyway, that's encouraging. That is encouraging. A little bit more line out this time, give the bobbin more room to move. Yeah, that was encouraging. There's fish down there, folks. Probably can't see the bobbin with this camera because it points up a bit, but it's down there, folks. Yeah, it was a positive bite. It sort of flickered a couple of times and then just went up steadily. But I missed it. Well, I didn't connect. I really thought I was going to. I was ready for the sort of resistance. But there was nothing there. Yeah, Anyway, it's going to be very difficult to capture the moment of striking if the bites are few and far between, because I can't keep the video on all the time. So once again, if something happens, I'll come back to you, but it'll probably be after the event, or during the event probably. I also bought sweet corn, so I'm going to put a bit of sweet corn out there. I did have one bite on bread, but it's certainly not producing lots of bites. Try something different. Right. Right, let's see what sweetcorn does, if any. It's probably not very deep out there actually, because having said that, when I fished here in the spring, the water was right up to the top here. Fishing just over these lilies here was really quite deep, so I think there's a fair depth of water here. Looking at the angle of the line anyway. As I say, I've never fished it in the autumn before, so I don't really know how it fishes in the autumn. It's sort of one of my spring venues where I come and fish before the season opens. But sort of 3 trips to the rivers have proved quite challenging, so I thought I'd have a change this week. Right, we're into something, folks. I pulled it right out the water actually, so it can't be that big, but it's giving me a bit of a go. And that was on sweetcorn. More powerful wood, sort of giving me upper hand here. I don't know what it is, folks. It could be a small carp. It's certainly having a go. Can't see. Oh no, I think it's my target species, folks. Oh, it doesn't look like that. I can't see a bloody thing for this sun. I can't see what I'm doing. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I think it's a tench. I think it's our target species. I can't see a thing looking at this water because of the sun. Yeah, it's not a big tench, but it's always good to get the target. Yeah, I couldn't see to net it because the flipping sun was so bright. You calm down, mate. Here's the line. Well, the hook's come out, which is good news. Don't have to battle with that. Yeah, he's only a baby, but it's what we're after. Yeah, okay, mate. Okay. Yeah, I know. Maybe you're calm down enough for me to show you. Here's Tinker Tinker. Beautiful fish, aren't they? Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, right. Well, happy days. Let's put you back in, shall we? I'll get you out because there's so much weed down here. Right, let's try out a bit further. There you go. I'll put a little bit more of my ground bait out, and while things are settling down, I've just put a little bit of sweetcorn in it. Seems to be attracting them. Yeah, it was only small, that tench, but it really gave me a battle. Go a bit further than that, really. The wind is really starting to gust in now. It's it would have been very, very difficult float fishing. When I first got here, I thought perhaps I should have bought the float rod, but no, it's really blowing backwards and forwards now. There's surface debris sort of blowing into the swim and then being sucked back out again. Yeah, it's gusting up. There is potential for rain later on. Alright, I'm going to try a bit of luncheon meat. Always a risk of a hungry carp coming along when you put luncheon meat on that. But we'll get the hook point outside the meat. I didn't do that very well, did I? Yeah, I'll give it a try. Just keep trying different baits and see what works. good. A bit further out than that. I chickened out there as I was casting. I sort of held back a bit. That's it, just on the edge there. Right, see if that makes any difference. I think the two guys over there are pole fishing, probably. Seems to be the go-to method these days. Makes a change here because there's normally bivvies all around the place and carp anglers. Well, I say all around the place, there's never that many. Just dropped a bit that bobbin. Some big carp in here, 20 plus carp in here. And I think I may have hooked a couple in the past because they made short work of my tackle. That's the trouble when you're tench fishing in a carp water. They're not so bad if it's an open lake where you've got plenty of water and you can let them run and tire themselves out, but here they're never very far from getting in a lily bed or reed bed. It may be the wind blowing the line actually. I don't think it's a bite. It really is gusting. I'm glad I didn't bring the float rod. I would have got very frustrated in this wind, I think. It's quite a big bit of luncheon meat, so if a tench finds it and fancies it, it might be a bit better fish. There's all that debris floating across the swim again. It just blows in with the wind, and then it's almost as if the water is pushed to one end and then it sort of recedes again and it all flows back again. Very changeable weather at the moment. Very difficult to know what's going to happen. Well, I just had a bite on luncheon meat. How I missed it I really don't know, because the bobbin just went up slowly and purposefully in one long move. In fact, I think I felt a bit of resistance, but it may have been just fancy, I don't know. But something took luncheon meat in a very, very positive manner. So, we'll go back on luncheon meat. Yeah. Yeah, it just it's a sort of bite that when you see it you think, well, that's unmissable, and then you miss it. God, Jesus. Anyway, we'll have another go. Something liked it. There's a lot of debris now on the surface, which is a problem. Oh no, you could catch the line. Let's go a little bit further over to the right. There's quite a lot directly in front of me. That's it, I think I've sort of missed most of it there. Yeah, I really don't know how I missed that point. It literally just went up smooth as silk in one long pull. I can't believe it was a carp, because they usually, when I was here last time, a carp took a bit of luncheon meat and I'd literally just turn around for a second and the rod went juddering forward, and I usually don't muck about, so I'm thinking it might have been a tench. It's a fairly big bit of luncheon meat. I wouldn't have thought it was a rudd, or maybe a bream, I don't know. There's some big bream in here apparently. I've never caught big ones, I've caught them sort of a couple of pound or so, but I've never caught anything big. But apparently there's some very big bream in here. Yeah, I just don't know how I missed that bite. It looked a dead cert as it was going up. I thought, I can't miss this. As I say, I thought I felt a bit of resistance, but maybe it was fancy, I don't know. Well, something took my luncheon meat, folks, and it feels a bit bigger than the last one. I think it's probably a tench. It doesn't feel powerful enough to be a carp. Just be trying to get in all the reeds. Yeah, it was another positive bite, but I hooked it this time. Yeah, that's a better tench, isn't it? He's actually caught round that lily pad, which is not good news. Get the net under him. Well, yeah, that's a nice looking fish. This bloody thing out the way, because it's just in the way. Yeah, not massive, but certainly worth catching. Hook's either come out or pulled through his lip. I think it's pulled through. That's it. Yeah, certainly worth catching, hey folks. Lovely. Quite dark coloured as well. Well, that was on luncheon meat, so it was worth sticking with it for a bit longer. I was going to change, but when I brought in the previous cast, I was actually stuck in some weeds, so I guess that's why I hadn't had a bite. Yeah, he's off. No messing. Right, I'm back on sweetcorn for a while. I was getting touches on luncheon meat, but not positive bites, so I sort of assumed it might be something that I wasn't interested in, a big bait like that, and I thought a couple of grains of sweetcorn may prove more productive, but let's see, shall we? I might have to take my gilet off. I'm getting quite warm sitting here. Mind you, there's a lot more cloud coming, so I won't rush to do it. Just come up 11:30, so I started fishing, I suppose, what was it? I don't know, probably about 9, so I've been at it a couple of hours. I've probably had about 6 bites, 7 bites, of which I've hooked 2 and they were both tench, so yeah, not too bad really. In fact, very good. I came here hoping to catch a tench, and I've now had 2, so yeah. Well, I've just had the most amazing bite on sweetcorn. How I missed it, I don't know. The bobbin just shot up. I think I was just a bit too slow, to be honest. They're letting go. But we'll stick on sweetcorn because that was a really good bite. Yeah, I was a little bit slow. You know, you sit looking, it's a bit like looking at a float, you sit mesmerised by the damn thing. Like, you know, I was sitting looking at the bobbin, I'm sort of mesmerised by it, and then when the float goes under sometimes, you sit watching it, you don't really react, because you've just been sitting watching it for so long. Anyway, well, yeah, that was one really good bite on sweetcorn, so let's keep my hand a bit nearer the rod, I think. Oh yeah, that just lifted straight away then. Yeah, that was the equivalent of the float sort of going to the depths when the float goes under and just disappears. And that was the sort of bite it was, but on the bobbin. And often when a float does that and you strike, the float comes back and there's no fish there, because by the time you've reacted to it, it's too late. And that was exactly what happened then. Jesus. But it's good to know I'm getting those sort of bites. Maybe next time I'll be lucky. I got it that time. Oh, that's another tench, isn't it? I'll say it's a tench. No, I think it's a bream. No, it's a bream. That were the bites I was getting. Yeah, it's now coming in like a wet sack. Yeah, it's a similar sort of bite to the one I missed. Yeah. Well, that's all right. This is where the landing net is now, completely covered in slime. Blimey, it's taking that quite a way down. There we go. Yeah, okay, mate. So, yeah, okay. Sorry, but I had to get the hook out. I'm not going to pick him up because he's too slimy, but you can get a pretty good look at him, I think, if I sort of tilt the camera down. Yeah, so sort of 22-inch net, so it gives you an idea of the size. Anyway, that's all right. Yeah, I couldn't get any closer than that, could I? Look, can't see the line, which is difficult to set the bobbin up. Right on the edge of those lilies now. So we'll see what happens. And I'll come back to you when it does, if it does. Something's taken my luncheon meat and taken me straight into the lily pads. I think it's still on. Oh Christ, it's over here now. Whatever it is, it's bigger than the last ones we had. Gee, I haven't seen it yet, so I can't tell you what it is. Oh, yeah, it's a carp. Yeah, I thought he had snagged me, but I managed to pull him out. He's still very lively, isn't he? And I think if I bring him in, he's going to create right havoc, but what do we do? Lovely looking fish. Lovely colour. Let's get myself untangled from the net. Yeah, I thought he had got me. He went in the he went into the lilies over there. But fortunately, that hook's just inside the lip. Yeah, what a beautiful looking fish. See, there's hardly any damage on the lips, which is unusual these days. But I find that here they're not caught sort of every day, and yeah. Right, don't you flip out of my hands, will you? There we are. Can you see him? He's a lovely fish. We won't weigh him because he's not enormous, but he's lovely. Right, let's get you back in, shall we? Yeah, okay. Anything bigger than this, I would have really struggled, I think. Well, that's not bad going, is it? We had two tench, a bream, and now a carp. Yeah. I'm into something else that is quite big. Blimey. I don't know if it's a carp or what it is, but it's got a lot of power. But it's not tearing off, which is odd. Taking line off my clutch. sort of really plodding, you know, heavy. It's almost trying to work out what it wants to do, I think. It's taking line again. Bloody hell. This is big. I'm not sure what's going to fit in my bloody hand in there. Oh boy, oh boy. What have we hooked into here? I think it's just playing with me at the moment. Yeah, I'm not making any impression on this fish at all. I think this is going to be a minor miracle to get this in the net. Look at me. It's a biggie, isn't he? He's a biggie, but I think he's starting to get a bit tired. He's desperately trying to get in those reeds now. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. A bit too big for the gear, I think. I think he's tiring, as long as the hook hold holds. Jesus. Yeah. Only just flipping heck. He's a flipping monster. Jesus, it's amazing that hook stayed in. Right, I've set these scales on minus 14 ounces because that's the right, 11.24, £11 5 ounces. Jesus. Right, I can't lift this fellow up. It's too dangerous because I haven't got anything to catch him if he falls. So you have to make do with looking in the net, I'm afraid. Yeah, what a magnificent fish. There she blows. Well, that was a bit unexpected. That's the thing with luncheon meat here. If you use luncheon meat, there's always a chance of a big carp turning up. Bigger than that, in fact, but that was big enough. I think it was fortunate it didn't try too hard for the snags. It was just sort of plodding away, really, just pulling and pulling. It was taking line off the clutch, which I had set fairly firm. I mean, say that rod's 1 3/4 pound, and I had 8 pound line on, so I had a bit of backbone. So yeah, but a lovely fish. Yeah, lovely fish. Exhausted now, to be honest. Yeah, oh well. We'll plod on, perhaps leave the luncheon meat alone. I think it's a bit too dangerous. Perhaps go back on sweetcorn. Yeah. Well, I've calmed down a bit. According to my watch, my pulse is 98, so I obviously haven't calmed down completely. Yeah, that was excitement, wasn't it? Yeah, it's a lovely fish. God, Jesus. It just felt so heavy. But fortunately, as I say, it didn't do a blistering run into the lilies or into the reeds. It just sort of went backwards and forwards, really, in this open water, which sort of otherwise I don't think I would have got it in, to be honest, if it had gone for cover. Yeah, I'm on sweetcorn now. The idea being perhaps a bream or a tench. Luncheon meat here, every time I try it here, well, not every time, that's an exaggeration, but I've tried luncheon meat here before and ended up with a carp on, and I don't always succeed in getting them in. But that's normally been on a float rod with 6 pound line, and obviously there isn't really much backbone in the average float rod. Just locks out, you can't do anything. But this one behaved itself very well, I thought. It still had some sort of reserve, I think. Yeah. Clouds are thickening as expected. We're well into the zone now where they said there might be some rain, so I'll see how it goes. It's 20 past 1. Certainly try to make it till 2, but if it starts getting a little bit threatening, I may pack in. It's been a good session, so I can't complain if I don't catch anything else, to be honest. Well, changing to sweetcorn to avoid the carp didn't really work. I got a cracking bite on sweetcorn and hooked into a fish that was almost certainly a large carp. Unlike the previous one, it made an immediate dash into the reed bed to my left, and well, it must have transferred the hook to the reeds. Everything went absolutely solid, and after a while, trying to feel some movement, hand lining, etc., I had to break off. So that was a bit of a sad ending to the session, which up to then had been really good. At the same time, the weather was closing in. It had started to rain a bit, so I decided to call it a day. I'm doing this voiceover because I didn't want to add more clips to show these sequences, because the video is already getting quite long and didn't really add much to the story. So there we go. Well, I'm signing off in the car. It's spitting of rain out there, and I didn't bring a waterproof coat. I was sort of fingers crossed it wouldn't rain, but that was a bit of a gamble. I mean, so they said it was going to rain yesterday and it didn't, but it started today, and there's some big black clouds coming over, and I didn't really want to get caught on the other side of the lake when it was sort of pouring down. So I packed up a bit earlier. I packed up about 2:15. I was going to pack up about 3, so it's only about 3/4 an hour difference. But it was a good session, really. I caught my target species quite early on, a couple of tench. Not big tench, but the tench in here, there's quite a few smaller sort of juvenile tench in here. A bream. I expected the bream to sort of be around, but we only caught one. And then that first carp, which is lovely condition, beautiful coloured fish, and and then that sort of 11 pounder, 11 1/4 pounder, that really gave me a run for my money. Yeah, so I can't complain really. I didn't really expect as much as that, to be honest. And then I lost one. I think it was another big carp, but it went straight into the reeds and I had to break off. So that was it, really. So that's it for this session. Thanks to everybody for watching, and so I just blinked down there because dashboard lights came on in my car for some unknown reason. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for those who like the videos and the subscribers, of course. I said last time I was nudging near the 1,000. Well, it hasn't nudged any further. These things come in sort of fits and starts, really. But, so I'm still a few off, but there we go. Yeah, so until next time, I don't know when, where, but we'll see. And that's it, really. So good session, as I say. So I say bye for now and cheers.